Hey everyone! Welcome back to Easy Speak World with Maya and Ethan, your favorite place where you learn real English through real conversations. Okay, so I need to ask you something and be honest. Have you ever been in a situation where someone says, "So, tell me about yourself," and your brain just completely shuts down? Like you're standing there, smiling, and inside you're thinking, who am I? What do I do? Do I even have a personality? Because I've been there multiple times, and it is not a good feeling.
Yeah, honestly, more times than I'd like to admit.
Right? And the worst part is, we all have a personality. We're interesting people. But the moment someone asks us to describe it in English, suddenly we forget every word we've ever learned. It's like the language just disappears.
You know what I think happens? It's not that you don't know the words. It's that no one ever taught you how to talk about yourself naturally in English. Like they taught you grammar. They taught you vocabulary lists, but not this. Not how to actually describe who you are in a real conversation.
Yes, exactly that. And as always, I've got Ethan here with me today, and we are going to fix that problem. Today, we're talking all about how to describe your personality in English with real phrases, real examples, and honestly, a lot of real conversation, so you can practice just by listening.
Yeah, Maya, that's the whole point, right? The best way to learn how to talk about yourself is to hear other people do it, naturally, with all the pauses and reactions and little moments that make conversation feel real.
And we have so many good things to get into today. Later in this episode, we're also going to give you some really useful phrases you can actually memorize and use right away. So stay with us. It's worth it.
It really is.
But first, before we go any further, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this channel. And honestly, every like means the world to us. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because we post new episodes every week and you do not want to miss them.
And here's a question for the comments. We want to know, how would you describe your personality in 1 or 2 words? Don't overthink it. Just whatever comes to mind first. Drop it in the comments below, and we'll try to reply to as many as we can.
Okay, so Ethan, let's actually start with something kind of uncomfortable, because I think a lot of English learners, when they try to describe themselves, they say the same 3 or 4 words every single time. Words like friendly, hardworking, shy.
The classics.
The classics, yes. And look, there's nothing wrong with those words, but if every single person says, "I'm friendly and hardworking," then those words start to feel a bit empty, like they don't really tell you anything about the actual person.
Right. They're safe answers. And safe answers are fine in some situations, but if you're trying to actually connect with someone or make an impression, you need something more specific, more you.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about personality the way real people actually talk about it. Not just adjectives, but stories, examples, comparisons, little observations, the kind of things that make someone say, "Oh, wow, that's a really interesting way to put it."
I love that. Because personality isn't really a list of words, is it? It's more like a collection of moments.
Ooh, that's a good line.
I have my moments.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, the simple personality words, because you do need these. They're the building blocks, but we're going to learn them in a way that sticks.
Let's do it.
So the word outgoing, outgoing, outgoing. It means you enjoy being around people, you're confident in social situations, you find it easy to start conversations. When someone is outgoing, they walk into a room and just naturally start talking to people.
Yeah, as opposed to someone who's more introverted, which is the next important word, introverted. It doesn't mean shy exactly. It means you get your energy from being alone, from quiet time, from your own thoughts. Introverts can be great at social situations, but afterwards they need time to recharge.
This is such an important distinction, right? Because so many people confuse introverted with antisocial or unfriendly, and that's just not true.
Completely. Some of the warmest, most interesting people I know are very introverted. They just prefer depth over breadth. One good conversation over 20 small ones.
Okay, I love that phrase, depth over breadth. Let's use that. If someone asks you about your personality, you could say something like, "I'm more introverted. I prefer depth over breadth when it comes to conversations." That sounds so natural and a little bit poetic, honestly.
It does. And it tells the other person a lot.
not just what you are, but how you experience the world.
Okay, next word, easygoing. If someone is easygoing, it means they don't stress easily. They're relaxed, flexible, not easily bothered by small problems. You know those people who, when something goes wrong, they just kind of shrug and say, it'll be fine. That's an easygoing person.
And the opposite would be, let's say, high-strung. High-strung. If someone is high-strung, they tend to be tense, anxious, easily stressed, not necessarily in a bad way. Sometimes being high-strung just means you care deeply about things.
Oh, that's a good reframe. Being high-strung just means you care. I'm going to use that as my excuse from now on.
Ha, noted.
But honestly, how do you describe yourself, Ethan? Easygoing or high-strung?
Somewhere in the middle? I think I seem easygoing on the outside. I don't react dramatically to things. But on the inside, I'm probably more high-strung than people realize. I think a lot about things. Probably overthink them.
See, I think that's actually really relatable. Because most people aren't just one thing, right? We're different in different contexts.
Exactly. And that's something worth saying when you describe your personality. It depends on the situation. Because it usually does.
Such a good point. You could say, I'm generally pretty easygoing, but in high-pressure situations, I tend to be more intense. That sounds real. That sounds like a person.
Not a job application.
Yes, not a job application. Okay, let's talk about a few more words and then get into some really useful phrases. The word thoughtful. Thoughtful has two meanings in English, and both are beautiful. First meaning, you think carefully before you act or speak. Second meaning, you consider other people's feelings and do kind, caring things for them. She was so thoughtful. She remembered it was my birthday.
I actually think those two meanings are connected, right? If you genuinely think carefully, you're more likely to be considerate of others.
That's a beautiful observation. Yeah. And then there's the word perceptive. Perceptive means you notice things that other people might miss. You're good at reading situations, reading people, understanding what's really going on beneath the surface.
Perceptive is one of those compliments that really lands. Because it means someone sees you as genuinely intelligent in a human, emotional way.
Yes. And then the opposite, someone who is oblivious. Oblivious means you don't notice things around you. Not because you're dumb, just because you're not tuned in. We all have moments of being completely oblivious.
I am famously oblivious when I'm working on something. Like, someone could walk past me 3 times waving, and I would not notice.
That's actually called being in the zone, which is a great English phrase, by the way. In the zone means you are completely focused on one thing, deeply concentrated, almost like the outside world disappears.
I couldn't answer your text. I was completely in the zone.
Perfect example. Okay, let me add a few more to our vocabulary list before we get into phrases. Resilient. Resilient means you recover well from hard things. You bounce back. You don't stay down for long when life is difficult.
This is such a valued quality, and it's worth knowing how to say it in English. I'd say I'm pretty resilient. I've been through some difficult things, but I always find a way to keep going.
Love that. Then there's spontaneous. Spontaneous means you're unpredictable in a fun way. You act on impulse, you make decisions quickly, you bring energy and surprise to things. Let's just go. I'm feeling spontaneous tonight.
And the more cautious counterpart, calculated. If someone is calculated, they think everything through carefully before acting. Nothing is random for them.
Which is neither good nor bad. It's just a style.
Exactly. Different styles work in different contexts.
Okay, now I want to get into something that I think is really, really useful. Because knowing the vocabulary words is great, but if you want to actually describe your personality in a natural, engaging way, you need some sentence structures, some frameworks you can use and personalize.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, here are some of my favorite phrases and structures. First, I tend to be. This is so useful. I tend to be pretty reserved when I first meet people, but once I'm comfortable, I open up a lot. Tend to be means it's generally true, not always, which makes it honest and real.
And it avoids the awkward absolute statement. Instead of I am shy, which feels like a permanent label, you say I tend to be a bit more reserved at first. Softer, more accurate.
Right. Second phrase, people would describe me as. This is great because it adds perspective. You're not just saying what you think about yourself, you're saying how others see you. People would describe me as someone who listens more than they talk.
Or you can flip it. I'd say I come across as, that phrase means this is the impression I give to others. I come across as pretty serious, but I actually have a pretty ridiculous sense of humor once you get to know me.
Oh, I love that one because it creates immediate curiosity. The listener thinks, ooh, tell me more.
Right. It creates a tiny story.
Third phrase, and this is maybe my favorite, I'm the kind of person who. This is perfect because it turns your personality into behavior, into something real and observable. I'm the kind of person who stays up too late because I can't stop thinking about something interesting. I'm the kind of person who remembers random details about people's lives. I'm the kind of person who needs 15 minutes of silence after a long social event.
That last one, so relatable for introverts.
So relatable. Okay, Ethan, I want you to try one. Use I'm the kind of person who. Make it real.
Okay. I'm the kind of person who needs to understand why something works before I can do it confidently. Like, I can't just follow instructions. I need to understand the logic behind them first.
See? That is so much more interesting than I'm curious. That one sentence told me so much about you. And if I were meeting you for the first time, I would want to keep talking.
That's the goal, right? Not to impress, just to connect.
Beautifully put. Okay, we said we'd come back to some really useful phrases, and here they are. These are phrases you can use in real conversations, in job interviews, on first dates, when meeting new people, when practicing English. Ready?
Let's hear them.
1. I'm generally pretty easy to get along with, but I do have strong opinions about the things I care about. This is great because it shows balance. You're not aggressive, but you're not a pushover either.
2. I'm someone who takes a little while to warm up to people, but once I do, I'm very loyal. This is perfect for anyone who feels shy or reserved and wants to explain that without making it sound negative.
3. I'd say my biggest strength is that I notice things other people don't. Perceptive without using the word, just showing it.
4. I can be a bit of a perfectionist, honestly. I find it hard to let something go if I know it could be better. Great for job interviews. It's an honest answer that also shows dedication.
5, and this is a fun one. I'm one of those people who is serious about the things I love, but I don't take myself too seriously. That balance right there, passionate but self-aware, is so attractive in a person.
I think that last one might be the most universally appealing description of any personality.
Right? Like you can't go wrong.
Okay, I want to bring up something that I think doesn't get discussed enough when it comes to personality in English, and that's the difference between describing your personality versus describing your values. Because sometimes those are different things.
Oh, say more. This is interesting.
So like, your personality might be that you're calm and quiet, but your value might be that honesty matters more to you than comfort. Those aren't the same thing. And both are important when you're trying to give someone a real picture of who you are.
So if someone asks you, tell me about yourself, you can combine both. Like, I'm generally pretty calm and reflective. I don't like drama, but I really value honesty, even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's a full human being in 2 sentences.
And it's so much more interesting than I'm friendly and hardworking.
Nothing against friendly and hardworking people.
Of course not. Most of us are friendly and hardworking, but we're also so much more.
True. Okay, here's another thing I think is worth mentioning. In English, there are some words that describe personality, but depending on how you say them, they can be either a compliment or a criticism. And knowing that nuance is really important.
Oh, yes, this is a great point. Like the word direct. If someone says she's very direct, it could mean she's honest and clear, which is a great quality. Or it could mean she's blunt to the point of being rude. The word is the same. The meaning shifts with context.
Same with confident. Confident can mean someone believes in themselves in a healthy, inspiring way. Or it can mean someone who is arrogant and doesn't listen to others. Totally depends on the situation.
And driven. Driven usually means highly motivated, ambitious, which most people see as positive. But it can also suggest someone who sacrifices everything else for their goals, which can be a problem.
So when you're describing your personality, context matters. If you say, I'm pretty direct, it helps to add a little more. I'm pretty direct. I'd rather be honest than say what people want to hear, but I try to be kind about it. Now the listener knows exactly what kind of direct you mean.
That's such a practical tip. always add a little context to the stronger personality words. It prevents misunderstanding, and it actually makes you sound more self-aware.
Self-awareness, by the way, that's a beautiful English phrase. Self-aware. It means you understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns. It's one of the most respected qualities in English-speaking culture.
Truly. If someone says, wow, you're really self-aware, that is a high compliment.
And you can use it to describe others too. He's really self-aware. He knows exactly where his blind spots are.
Blind spot. Great phrase. A blind spot is an area where you can't see clearly, something about yourself that you don't notice, even if others do. My blind spot is that I sometimes come across as cold when I'm actually just focused.
Perfect usage.
Okay, I want to do something a little fun before we wrap up. I want us to each describe our personality in about 3 or 4 sentences, using the phrases and words we've talked about today, just as an example for everyone listening, because hearing it done in real time is one of the best ways to internalize it.
Oh, I like this. You go first.
Okay, me first. Deep breath. So, I'd say I'm a pretty expressive person. I come across as enthusiastic and warm, and I think that's genuinely who I am. But people are sometimes surprised to find out that I'm also quite sensitive. I'm the kind of person who feels things very deeply and needs time to process big emotions. I value connection above almost everything else, which is probably why I love doing this podcast so much.
That was really good. And I could picture you from that, like I have a sense of who you are.
That's the goal. Okay, your turn.
Okay. I tend to be more of an observer than a talker in new situations. I come across as calm, maybe even a little reserved, but I'm actually thinking a lot. I'm the kind of person who takes something small that someone says and turns it over in my mind for days afterward. I'm driven, but I try to make sure it's for the right reasons, not just success, but meaning. And I think my biggest blind spot is that I sometimes forget to say out loud what I'm feeling because I assume people can tell.
Wow, that last line.
Too much?
No, it was perfect. I sometimes forget to say out loud what I'm feeling because I assume people can tell. That is such a universal experience and such a beautifully honest thing to say.
Thank you. I meant it.
And there it is, everyone. That's what we're going for. Not perfect English, not impressive vocabulary, just honest, clear, natural expression of who you are.
And the good news is, the more you practice this, the easier it gets. Try it in English. Try it in conversation. Try it in your journal. You'll find the words start coming faster.
So let's do a quick recap of what we covered today, because there was a lot. We talked about key vocabulary: outgoing, introverted, easygoing, high-strung, thoughtful, perceptive, resilient, spontaneous. We talked about natural sentence structures. I tend to be, I'm the kind of person who, people would describe me as, I come across as. We talked about how to add context to strong personality words. We talked about the difference between personality and values. And we did real examples of describing ourselves naturally.
That's a lot in one episode.
It is. So if you want to make sure you don't forget any of this, watch it again, or just listen while you're doing something else. Repetition is genuinely how language sticks.
And don't forget, the comment question was, how would you describe your personality in 1 or 2 words? We want to know, even if it's something unexpected or strange, especially if it's something unexpected or strange.
Yes, please. The unusual ones are my favorites.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care of yourselves. Keep practicing. And remember, your personality in English is just as interesting as it is in any other language. You just need the words to show it.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.